Hey everyone, NewbSwingTrader here, and in this video I'm going to give you guys a very brief tutorial on how to use TD Ameritrade's Think or Swim platform. This is the platform that I use personally to analyze stocks and try to find patterns and decide when to go in and buy a stock. It's going to be very brief. This is a very powerful platform. I'm only going to touch on the things that I think are most beneficial to new investors. So if you don't already have Thinkorswim, check out one of my other videos. I gave you step-by-step instructions on how to download it. And I also made another video showing you how to create a scanner so that you can find potential stocks that you may be interested in investing in. But me personally, I think this is a very powerful tool. And like I said, I'm only going to touch on the main things that I think are going to be beneficial to somebody who's new to investing. And in the future, I do plan to make videos on how I look at stocks and how I analyze stocks to decide on whether I will take a position on a certain stock. And I wanted to sort of get this video out of the way so that you guys, if you want to make your charts look like mine, you won't have that question going into any of my future videos. So. And then the last thing I wanted to say is the reason I really like Thinkorswim is that it has an app that you can download on your phone. And when you're away from your computer, and like me, for example, when I'm at work, and if I wanted to just quickly take a look at stocks, like I said, I don't like using Robinhood to look at stocks or to look at how the market is doing. I think that their charts are pretty bad. So I like using Thinkorswim, and their app is linked with your desktop version. So if you create a watch list on your computer, when you open your app, your watch list is gonna be there, and you can do a lot of the things that I'm gonna show you on the charts. Like you can have all these indicators in your app. So if there's a request, I may make a video on how to use the app. But for now, I just want to make this quick video, very brief tutorial on how to get started with Thinkorswim. So I have several things I want to cover. I'm going to try to go pretty quickly. I hope I don't go too fast for you guys. But let's get right into it. So the first thing I wanted to show you is watch lists. So these things over on the left over here, these are watch lists that I've created. If you wanted to create a watch list from scratch, then you would simply click on this plus sign down here, and then this select gadget window comes up. You click on watch list, and then by default, if you already have watch lists that are not being displayed here, it's going to show you a watch list that you may already have saved. But if you want to create a new one, you would click in this middle box here, and then you would go over to create watch list, and this is going to bring up this new watch list window. And so here you would type in the name that you want to give this watch list. So for this, I'm just going to say example 1. Okay, and then if you wanted to add stocks into it, you would simply type in here. So let's just, for this example, I'm going to add Google, I'm going to add Apple, and let's just do Tesla. So I've just added these three. You can remove by clicking remove symbols, but I'm going to save this, and I'm going to minimize these other watch lists so they're out of the way. So here's the watch list I just created. It's called example 1. And it's got the 3 stocks that I've added, and you can expand this window by holding over this bottom line and then dragging up or down. And if you'll notice right now, if I click on any of these stocks, nothing is displayed over in my chart over here. Okay, and the reason is that I don't have this watch list linked with the charts window. So this little kind of looks like a paperclip icon. You want to click on that, and you want to assign this watch list a number. Okay, so I've already got 1 through 5 assigned, so I'm going to assign this one 6. And now if you want to link your chart to this particular watch list, you simply go over here. You see where it's the red number 1 is. You click on that, and then you change it to match the watch list that you want to link to. So in this case, this example 1 watch list is now linked with my chart. So if I click on Apple, it's going to display Apple. If I click on Google, it's going to display Google. Okay, so that's how you link watch lists together. So I'm going to go back to this one. Okay, so that covers watch lists, how to create them and how to link them with your chart. Okay, so the next thing I want to cover is how you add these indicators that I use. So there's certain indicators I have in my chart. So these lines that you see here that are being highlighted, and then these windows down here. Okay, these are all indicators that people use to decide when to buy and when to sell. Okay, so I'm not going to go into detail on any of these. I'm just going to show you how to put them in your charts and how to put them in your window. I'll show you guys. There is some helpful tools in here that you can use that are built into Thinkorswim. But for now, I'm just going to show you guys how to add them. Okay, so first thing I'm going to cover is I'm going to show you guys how to add these lines. I'm going to zoom in here, and I'm going to show you. So this green line is my simple moving average line. Okay, this red, purple, and yellow, these are VWAP lines. Okay, this is my top VWAP, this is my middle VWAP, and this is my bottom VWAP. And then this blue line, this is my exponential moving average line. Okay, I'm going to show you guys how you can add those to your chart. So the first thing you're going to do is you're going to come up here over to Studies, and then you're going to go to Edit Studies. And if you just downloaded Thinkorswim, you're not going to have anything in here. So, and if you do, you can just simply hit the X if you want to just delete it. Just hit the X and it'll pull it out of this list. So the first thing, I'm going to add this moving average exponential line. Okay, so what you're going to do is you're going to type in exponential, and you're going to see that it's going to come up. So if you double click on it, it's going to move it over into this price box. Okay, and it's going to look like this. And I believe the default value for this length is 9. So I changed mine to 15. And how do you do that? Simple. You click on this little gear icon, and in here under length you can just simply either use the up arrows, or you can just put your cursor, backspace, and then put whatever value you want. Okay, I like using a length of 15. If you want to change the color of the line, you simply click on this little square down here and change it to whatever color that you want. Okay, so that's how you add the exponential moving average line. And really quickly, if you guys want to know more about any of these indicators, again, I'm not going to cover them in detail, but like I said, there's a helpful built-in tool in here. If you click on this little question mark, this pop-up window is going to come up, and you can read more about the exponential moving average, or really any of the studies that are available. And if you want to learn more, then you click on more details, and I'm going to close this box just so that you guys can see, but it's going to open up this education tab, and it's going to show you exactly what goes on behind the scenes for all of these studies. Okay, and it's got these reference materials for every single study that's built into Thinkorswim. Okay, so go ahead and read on it. Get yourself familiar with what these tools are used for. But I'm not going to cover it, so I'm going to go back to charts, and I'm going to show you guys how to add the other ones. So I'm going to go back to studies, edit studies. Okay, so the next one is simple moving average. So again, I'm going to type in simple, and it's the second one in this list, simple moving average. Okay, so again, if you double click, it should appear over in this price box. And again, I changed mine to 180 for the length. So again, if you click the gear right in here, you can change the length, and you can put it to whatever you'd like. Okay, it doesn't have to be 180. That's just what I like to use. And again, if you want to change the color or the width, this is where you would do it. Next one is this VWAP indicator. So this one you would type in VWAP, and it's the only one that comes up. Again, double click, and it's going to throw it into this list. Okay, and I believe I changed the colors of these lines. So this is showing the middle VWAP line, which is, if you can see over in this graph, it's the purple line. Then if you want to change the upper VWAP line, and you would click on this upper band, and you would change the color here, and same for the lower VWAP line. You click on lower band, and you would change the color of the line there. Okay. The next indicator that I like to use over down here where it says lower, lower simply means you're going to have another window in your charts window. Okay, so I'm going to add the RSI indicator. The RSI it stands for Relative Strength Index, and I'll give you a very brief explanation of what it does in a second here. But you would double click on this, and then it's going to add it into this window here. And again, if you want to change any of these parameters, you click on the gear icon, and then here is where you would do that. Okay, so cancel out of there. The last one is the MACD indicator. First one that comes up. Again, you can click on the question mark if you want to read more about it, but MACD is the moving average convergence and divergence indicator. And I believe the default value for this is no. And all it does is I added these little arrows down here. So if you go over to up signal, these are the up arrows that you see down here, these little green arrows. So I just highlighted this show plot. And then up here is where you would say show breakout signals, yes. Okay, so I believe default is no. You would say yes. Okay, and then same thing with the down arrows. It's down here in this down signal tab. You can change the make sure that show plot is selected or checked. Okay, so that covers all of these indicators. So I'm gonna hit cancel here. So that is how you get all of these lines and how you get these windows into your chart window. So the next thing I want to cover is I'm going to zoom out here so that you see these magnifying glasses down here on the bottom. Negative sign means zoom out. So I'm going to show you guys how I made my window look like this. So I like having these extra bars on the right. I don't know why, it's just personal preference. But if you want to make your chart look like this, then you come up here to this little gear indicator. And the way you do that is under time axis. You just add a value in here. This is going to add however many bars. So right now I have 100 bars to the right in the expansion area. So you can put any number you want, whatever you like, whatever your personal preference is. And one of the things I also did was under this general tab where it says alerts up here in content, I changed this. I believe this is the default where it says show alerts. I changed this to show arrows only, and I'm going to show you guys why I did that. Again, this is personal preference. You don't have to do this. And the other thing I did, I believe if you just downloaded the Thinkorswim, you're going to have a separate window for this volume. That's what these blue bars are down here in my chart. I simply check this box here where it says overlap volume, and it puts the volume up here in the main chart window. Okay, again, it's personal preference. You don't have to do it. I'm just showing you guys how I set mine up in case you guys had any questions or wanted it to look like mine. So again, overlap volume, show arrows only. Under price axis, I didn't do anything. Time axis, again, I added a value in here. You don't have to do it. It's personal preference. And the last thing is favorite time frames. In here, these are the time frames that you're going to use to look at your stocks. Okay, so you can change these to whatever time you'd like. So if you wanted to change this, then you would click on it, and then you would click on edit, and then in here you can change the time interval. So however many days you want to do. So for this example, I have it set at 10 days. And then the aggregation period, you can change that to whatever you want. 1 minute, 5 minute, 10 minute. So this is where you would do. And then once you change it to whatever you want, you have to click on add so that it updates it in here. Okay, you can add some by clicking add time frame if you wanted to have more, and you can delete some if you want to have less. Okay, and then you can move the order that they're displayed in by clicking move up or move down, and I'll show you guys how to toggle between these different time frames in a second here. For appearance, I like, in my chart, I like having the candlesticks displayed, and I like having these boxes filled in. So if you want to fill the up the up candlesticks and the down candlesticks, just make sure these boxes are checked. And that's it. That's all I changed in this chart settings. All of these are default. So I'm going to click cancel here. So first thing is I'm going to show you guys what happens. So I'm going to put an alert here at 6:25, okay, and I'm going to show you guys what happens. So if you want to create an alert, so simply put your cursor where it is you want, and if you look over on the right hand side, you'll see that it says 6:25. You see how it's moving? So I'm going to add an alert here at 6:25. I'm going to right click, and I'm going to go to create an alert. And then here is where you can select, at or above this price, at or below, at or above, or simply just below or above. Okay, so I'm going to say, I'm going to create an alert when the price is at or above 6:25. Okay, and you can put little notes in here because you will get a text notification, and you will get an email if you have that set up. But you can say something like, hey, time to sell stocks. Okay, and then if you hit create, you'll notice that there's a little arrow that just popped up here. Okay, now remember how I told you that one of the things I changed in the chart settings was show arrows only? Well, I'm going to change this back to show alerts to show you guys what it looks like. Do you see these lines now, these golden lines that were added? Do you see how it's kind of messy, and it's showing it right on top of your graph, and it's just kind of in the way? So this is why I personally like to have just the little arrows over on the side, because you can easily tell that you have an alert there, and it's not making your chart super busy and having these boxes right over your chart. So again, little arrow or little gear indicator, it opens up the chart settings window. Under alerts, just show arrows only. And now you just have the little arrows over here on the side. Okay, so that covers alerts. Now, how do you change the different time frames? I showed you guys how to create those different time frames. Well, if you want to change them while you're looking at a graph, then you would click on this box here where it says 15M, And then here are your time frames. Okay, you can toggle between all of these different time frames. Um, so for now, I'll just leave it on 5-day, 5-minute, and we'll continue. The next thing I wanted to look at is the drawing tools. So you'll notice that I have these lines drawn in, and I put some text in here. And if I'm going to show you guys, if you have a big time frame, so I'm going to do a 30-day, 15-minute time frame, and you wanted to zoom in on a particular, say you wanted to zoom in on these 3 days, then you can zoom in by, if you left click somewhere on the graph, like say here, and then you just drag it over. You're holding down the left mouse button, and then drag it over the area that you want to zoom into, and then the second you let go, it's going to zoom into that area that you highlighted. And again, if you want to zoom out, down here the magnifying glass, you would zoom out, and then you can hover over, or you can move the window over by using this bar down here. Okay, so I'm going to go back to 3-day, 5-minute, so I can zoom in on this and show you guys how I added these lines. Okay, so the first thing is, how do you add these drawing tools? It's very simple. You go over to drawings up here, and then you go down to drawing tools, and these are all the tools that you have at your disposal. Okay, the ones I use the most are trend lines, which is just this little line, and the text. Okay, so if you click on trend line, so by default your cursor is just going to be just an arrow like this. So when you change it to trend line, it's going to change from an arrow to like a little pencil. Okay, and now if you click somewhere, you can add a line. Okay, anywhere you want. So if you want to remove a line, you right click on it, remove drawing. Okay, you'll see that it highlights the line or changes the color when you're hovering over it. And so that's how I added these lines. And if you want to add a horizontal line, then all you have to do is, you'll notice if you click somewhere and you draw a line, do you see this little box that comes up? Well, that last number in that box is the angle that you're drawing this line at. Okay, so if you have a positive angle, you'll notice it right now, it's at 11.3 degrees. If you want to draw a horizontal line, you would just move the mouse until it shows 0, and that's a horizontal line. Okay, so that's kind of a useful thing to keep in mind, so I'm going to remove that. And the other reason I like these trend lines is that you can easily check and see how much a stock has for potential profit. So if I established this pattern here, okay, so this is the last 3 days, and I've noticed that I've got a resistance somewhere around $6.35 or $6.36, and then I see a support somewhere around the $6.05 price point. Okay, and you're asking yourself, well, how much potential gain is that? Well, you can easily do it if you click on this line, on the support line, and then you move the other endpoint to somewhere near this resistance line. The 5th number in this blue box is giving you the percentage growth. Okay, so right now this is saying if I were to buy this particular stock somewhere around the support line, and I were to sell it somewhere around the resistance line, then I would expect somewhere in the area of 5% return on my investment. Okay, do you guys see how that's being calculated? And again, you can also do it the other way. You're losing 2%. If the stock price goes from $6.04 to $5.92, then that's a loss, or negative 2%. Okay, So that's one of the things I like to look at, that I like to use these trend lines. So for now, let's just say the stock price was around here, $6.14. And I just wanted to do a real quick analysis. Well, how much can I, if I were to buy into it right now, how much would this offer? Well, it still offers just over 3.5%. Assuming you buy it right now and you sell it somewhere up here near this resistance level, okay? It gives you that information right on the screen, so you don't have to go and crunch numbers and do anything, okay? And then the last thing I wanted to show you guys, as far as drawing tools, is how do you add text. Very simple. Again, drawings, drawing tools, and then you go to this text note, and then wherever you click, it's going to add a box there. So if I click up here, this note box comes up, and then you can just type in whatever you want. Example text. And then if you hit OK, don't hit enter, because if you hit enter, it actually jumps down to the next line. So you got to click OK, and you can put little texts in your chart to give yourself a reminder, or anything you may want to do. So again, if you want to remove it, right click on it, remove drawing. Very simple. Okay, just really quick, how this layout is. So I've got again, these are drawing tools that I put in here, but this is my top VWAP line, the purple is my middle VWAP line, and the yellow is my bottom VWAP line. And these are volume weighted average lines. Okay, they take the volume into account. Okay, so that's how these are displayed. The blue is my exponential moving average line, and then this green line is the simple moving average line. And you can get an idea if you put your cursor somewhere at the very top up here, it actually gives you the value of all of these lines. So the blue, depending on where the cursor is, it tells you, okay, right now where the cursor is, the value is 615. Same thing, simple moving average, the cursor right now, it's at 617. And same thing with the VWAP lines, okay? And also the volume. Volume is displayed up here. And again, that's just these blue lines down here. This gives you an idea of the volume over the course of a day. Now, really quickly on these, this will be the last thing I'll discuss, is these bottom windows down here. I'm going to expand this a little bit so you guys can get a better idea here. So the first window is the RSI, or Relative Strength Index window. And what people use this is another indicator you can use to help you decide whether it's a good idea to invest in a stock or it's not a good idea to invest in a stock. So I'm gonna zoom in on this area down here on this one particular day, and you can see that I've established a resistance line up here and a support line down here. Okay, so that when this stock price reaches somewhere around this support line is a good time to buy, assuming that this pattern repeats, right? And one of the things that this relative strength index offers you is that whenever this approaches this value of 30 down here or drops below it, then it's telling you that this stock is oversold or it's undervalued. Okay, so this is just another way of saying, hey, now is probably a good time to buy. Okay, not always, but it's just again, it's another indicator that you can use. So right around here, well, we notice that the stock is still dropping, right? So it's not necessarily a good time to buy. So again, don't rely on a single indicator to make a decision. Look at everything, right? Look at your simple moving average. Look at your exponential moving average. Again, I'm a very conservative investor. If I don't like something, I just simply don't invest in it, okay? But generally, when this is under 30 or, somewhere in this area, this line is going to turn blue, indicating it's potentially a good time to buy because this stock is undervalued. And when it approaches this 70, you'll see that the line turns red. And anytime it's above it, it's going to be red. That just indicates that the stock is overbought and it may not be a good value. Okay, so and if you look at the MACD indicator, these green lines mean it's telling you that the stock price is increasing. Okay, the candlesticks, if you look up here where these bars are green and on the top side of this line, the candlesticks are all above this exponential moving average line. And what happens here? Right around here, the candlesticks go from being above to below the exponential moving average line. And it gives you this little down arrow indicating, okay, now there's been a change. There's been a change in the stock price where now the candlesticks are all below the exponential moving average line and it's in a downward pattern. Okay, so it's decreasing. So that's what these little red lines indicate. Okay, the stock price is decreasing. So this is not a good time to buy. So again, remember when I said previously, if it's below 30 or around 30, it's a good time to buy. Well, looking at the MACD, it's not a good time to buy because the stock price is dropping, right? These bars are red. So you want this to be, below 30 or around 30, and you want the bars to be green. Okay, indicating it's moving up. The price is increasing, right? You see how up here, I got to change this back to, this is moving up, right? The candlesticks are above the exponential moving average line. Okay, so those are the things that you want to keep in mind. Don't rely on just one indicator. Use everything at your disposal, okay? And that's pretty much all I wanted to cover. Those are all what I think are the basics that any new investor is going to need to do their analysis on stocks. Like I said, I will make a video in the future showing you guys a little more closely, in detail, what I use to analyze stocks and how I analyze stocks and decide whether I buy into something. But for now, I just wanted to make a video, just a quick tutorial, all the basic tools that you're going to need to get you guys started. Okay, so thank you for watching. If you found this video useful, please like and subscribe. If you guys have any questions, feel free to reach out to me. I've always put my email address down in the description. If you guys have any future topics that you'd like for me to discuss or make a video on, let me know and I'll make it happen. So thanks everyone, and as always, have fun trading stocks.